Okay, so today we're going to go over the business story of the Goddard dynasty. So take a sip already, because holy crap. This one, so we might not. This might not just be a one-story thing. I may not have a lot to say about it, so we might go over to the dog story in this video as well. Who knows? Let's find out. All right. So, Jane, what does Jane Goddard mean? I think that's his dad. Hold on, now I'm curious. So we got J.N. Goddard. Okay. Jane Goddard. Yeah. Jane Goddard Sons Limited. Run producer of the world. And they probably, it's probably a multi-million endeavor by now. Anyway, so this is how it started. So let's read the story. All right. So, striking story of extremely successful businessman, demonstrating the power of assumption, law of assumption. Power of imagination. I'm reading way too fast. Okay, so it's his family. Okay, so he's going to tell the story about his family. So this is his brother. He was 20 years old, and he was the next to oldest in a family of 9. And the father was a partner in a small merchandising business, and then the brother left the country, and he came back because his father was forced out of business and impugning his character and integrity. At the same time, he was deprived of his rightful share in the equity of the business, and then he was discredited and almost penniless. So the son returned and resolved to become outstandingly successful in business. Then they started their own thing. They rented a small store, and it was like a produce store. It was like deli meats and something like that. Let me open up the story, because it's fairly interesting. Okay, Joseph Nathaniel. Look at that. Look at that. Those guys. Yeah, they kind of look like him. Of course, they look like him. Okay, so yeah, meat and grocery store on the side of Bridgetown, which is pretty cool. Multinational conglomerate. Good for them. Anyway, so that's how it started. Okay. So he's talking about the actual mechanism that was used by, I think, Victor is the son here in question. I don't know if he was told by Neville about this, but he had already, the son had instinctive awareness that it was bound to work. And it is the imagination to attain almost fantastic objective. Okay, so here's what he did. Here's what the son did. Every day on the way to work, to and from, he passed the building of the former business, the biggest business of its kind in the country. And on the outside was a huge sign with other people's initials on it, or another, owned by somebody else. And a great dream took shape, and he thought out how wonderful it would be that his family had a great building. Really quick, there's a lot of stories I've seen about how people would think, oh, it would be nice if this happened. And they may like believe it wholeheartedly and then drop it. They may even not believe it. I've had manifestations where I believed in something for the longest time, and then the day after I stopped believing in it. It happened. All that to say is that power of assumption is at work always, but how is a mystery. That one specific event, I'll maybe share it someday, because it is so weird, so weird. It really confused me. Anyway, that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about how the son passed by the big building, and he, in his imagination, saw a completely different name. Now it's spelled J-N. So he wanted, I'm assuming, he wanted to spell J-N Goddard and Sons. Mm, okay. So he remained looking at the sign with his eyes wide open, imagining that it read that. So, and he did that twice a day, every day for 2 months. Twice a day for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Um, so again, the mechanism is completely different from, I'd say, most of, no, almost every single story, every single case history in this book. It's a pretty unique way to go about using the law of assumption. The point is that, you know, if you're stuck trying something, don't copy this, because if you want like great business success, like you don't need to do that. You just use the law of assumption, have I, as I've described in a novel, as Neville has described in this book many times. It's just simply assuming what you want and persisting. That's it. Assuming what you want is real and persisting in it. That's it. Anyway, so he goes over, he imagines it twice a day, and so it doesn't say that, it just said that he was convinced that if he felt strongly enough that a thing was true, it was bound to be the case. And then by seeing in imagination his family name on the sign, that one day he would own it. I'm curious. I have this belief uh, that I'm like rock solid in. I'm not gonna say it now, but if you've also just believed in something just because you want to, um, tell me about it in the comments. Mine hasn't happened yet. I haven't experienced it, but I mean, I'm like dead set, convinced that it's gonna happen. No matter what, I got this. Okay. All right. So also a very important thing. Let's see, did I cover it? Okay, no. So for this story, he told his mom what he was doing. Neville Goddard everywhere says that you're not supposed to tell anyone it's like removing a seed after planting it, and to check if it's growing. And again, you have to look at what anyone says about the law of assumption or anything in relation to the foundational facts. Because I'm going to use my pen. Because if the foundational facts say the law of assumption is used this way, or that's small lowercase o, 7. The law of assumption is, and that is a foundational like principle right here. Everything is subject to that. If you're watching this video, you can just skip ahead. I'm just gonna illustrate this. So he told one person he was doing. Neville says a lot of lectures do not do that because he doesn't. For some reason, there is a dichotomy, a principle in teaching whereby you as a person, one person will have a certain degree of knowledge. Okay, so maybe you have the knowledge that your thoughts have at least an effect on the world, and you don't think that you control it completely yet, like me. So and you're not completely convinced that you're God yet, or something. Maybe that's like at the end stage. Now I know I'm saying this and speaking it into existence or whatever, but I'm using myself as an example because I'm not scared. I know things will work out for me anyway. So at the beginning stage, you are aware in the manifesting journey, okay, you're aware of specific things, okay? And so Neville, I believe, he was preaching to the people who are not familiar with the law of assumption. And so by putting a lot of rules, a lot of very strict guidelines, it's like a bowling alley, okay? So he puts up the little riser thingies, and so I'm just drawing all over the place. So you can hit the pins easier, okay? And so if you I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell it to you straight. Maybe Neville was onto something, and maybe I'm making a huge mistake by giving you kind of a peek behind the curtain. This is, of course, also my opinion. I could be wrong. Anyway, so he told one person, the son told a person what he was doing. Neville says, don't do that. I think that Neville says don't do that because most people are in this beginner stages of awareness, and they are not yet completely convinced, and they don't know and are familiar with the principles, like the foundational principles. For example, like how the law works, how consciousness works, how you can control yourself, and what you're supposed to do in order to take advantage of the law of assumption. Um, and so that's why I talk about it straight up. Like I established this foundation to you watching this video, because if you have an unshakable foundation in the principles, then you will be able to do what the hell ever you want. You won't have to like follow all the rules and do the regulations thing. Right? But it comes to mind like the scribes and Pharisees thing. It's kind of like that. Wow, that's kind of sobering. But I mean, it's true. Anyway, so yeah, right. Because it's not like the following the rules are not important. Are not they don't the law of assumption doesn't say, well, the law of assumption works except if you tell anybody. If you tell anybody, then the magic doesn't work anymore. No, it's just if you assume something, and if you persist, then it will happen. The one thing that I am curious about is other people's influence on your own assumptions. Because if we are all in the world, all of us here are assuming a certain thing, and then we tell somebody else about it, and they're like, no, actually, I want it to go this way, and you want it to go this way. For example, they want you to be poor, you want to be rich. I don't know. I don't know what the effect of that is. Or how that comes into play. If we're all alone in our separate world, regardless, this is just like a philosophical exercise. I don't think that you should act at all on other people's potential influence on your life. Just it's not helpful. It's not a helpful belief for you to be like, oh well, what do they think about me? And if I tell them this thing, are they gonna like try and sabotage me? Don't do that. This is just something for you to ponder, separate from your own goals. Okay, keep the faith in your own goals. Keep persisting in their reality, and yeah. But I just wanted to talk about this, to bring it out. But don't let it affect you to the point where it sabotages you and limits your ability. And the reason how to do that. Yeah, I'm taking forever with this. I'm getting super conceptual. The way to make sure that you are guarded against things like that are mindfulness. Mindfulness tactics, building up a practice of being mindful of what you think and what you believe. Okay, let's continue with the story. So he confided in his mom, and then who tried to discourage him. This is maybe why. Another reason why Neville says to not tell anybody, because you could fall to temptation. Temptation is in discouragement, in missing the mark. Okay, to protect him, what a great disappointment. Oh man, I hate this so much. I have a personal vendetta against people who try to like discourage you. To get disappointed, like who cares? If your failure is a learning lesson always. Okay, I grew up with a very strict rules graded household. This is going somewhere, I swear. And I did this exercise where I found out that I have a limiting belief about success and achievement. But the thing is that even a disappointment, you'll learn. You'll learn from it. All you have to do is persist. You just have to remain strong in whatever you want, whatever you desire, and you will eventually succeed. I have an unshakable belief in that. All you have to do is give up, and that's how you'll fail, is just by giving up. Anyway, so he persisted. He did not give up. Day after day, 2 years, it was up for sale because the large company failed. Fucking assholes. Anyway, so on the day of the sale, he seemed no near ownership, okay, because I don't know why. They worked hard and their customers had confidence in them, but they didn't have enough money to pay for the building. And they couldn't borrow any. So a lot of other people wanted to buy it. Okay, so here's here's a couple things that were against this guy's desire. Okay, first of all, this thing started out with up here. Okay, so so okay, right here. So right here, the father was largely discredited, almost penniless, and he, he was the object of false accusations, and that's an adversity. Okay, that was the first adversity that happened. Regardless, the son, persisted in the imagination or the desire, the belief that his family would eventually take over the building somehow. Again, even when it came down to it, he did for 2 years. I'm assuming this is all true. Neville says it's all as truth. Um, so for this story, 2 years straight, he persisted, and even after the 2 year mark when the company failed and the building was for sale, it seemed like there was all this. He's listing all these things. They couldn't borrow capital. They had no money, and a lot of other wealthy people were going to buy it. Okay, so these adversities were against this guy's desire, and I'm assuming that he persisted anyway. And so just take that as a lesson. No matter what adversities, that probably you're not probably in the same situation. You probably have less intense desires. Well, I don't want to say that because everybody's struggles are subjective and different, and the same adversity could mean different things. It could have different different variability of, uh, of intensity based on subjective values and experiences, stuff like that. So, and yeah, I don't want to say that. Anyway, so the point is it persists despite all these bad things happening. Okay, the son's family couldn't even bid for it. Okay. All right. And then almost a total stranger came to their shop and offered to buy the property for them. See, this shows that you have no idea. You as a human, you as a person, as a manifestation, part of the I am. You as a limited a person with limited perception have no idea what can arrange for your desire to happen. Okay, that's not up to you to decide. You have no business saying what you can and cannot do because you are connected to the I am, and you can get in touch with it by assuming, and that's it. That's all you have to worry about. Like how could you plan against almost a complete stranger buying a building for you and your family? It's like insane. All right. So I thought he would flip up the guy that offered to buy the entire building for them. Was joking. Sure, I mean, but the guy had watched them and believed in their integrity and supplying the capital for them because he believed in their business savvy. Was a good investment for him. Oh man, this is getting me excited for acquisitions. I'm gonna go into acquisitions soon. Okay, that very day their property was theirs. So they got it. They got the freaking property. Somebody bought it for them. Somebody else bought it for them. Anyway, so what he had persisted in was now reality. And the hunch the stranger was more than justified. Okay, yep. And I think the denouement. The family owns, it's multinational conglomerate. Okay, the son, blah 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 blah. Okay, was using. I mean, he wasn't using exactly the technique, but the point is he believed that something would happen, and it did. Assuming the feeling that he, okay, this is the technique. Sure, sure. Assuming the feeling that he already had what he desired. Determined persistence, he inevitably caused the dream to become a reality. All right. Well, we're at the 20-minute mark. There's no way I'm going to cover the dog story here. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about. Right. Okay, so in other lectures, Neville says that I think he. I mean, I don't know what kind of relationship the son had with the guy that bought the building. Um, I think they sold it to a bank for like almost $1 million at the time or something. And the guy who bought the building, I think, gave him a bunch of houses that totaled a couple $100,000 or something like that. Um, so yeah, um, I don't know if he imagined in that he persisted in that reality. The son persisted in the reality of somebody giving him not only the building, or him not only getting the building, but somebody giving him like what, 1 million plus in property and businesses and stuff like that. This may be why it took 2 years for this thing to happen, because there was something that the son didn't know about, nobody knew about, but that this guy who bought the building for them also was able to leave off a lot of resources for the family for whatever reason. Probably believed in their work ethic and just thought they were good people. Um, yeah, I mean, and he says this in a lot of different lectures. I can't link them because I don't know them by heart. Um, but yeah, moral of the story: persist, and then if you don't feel like persisting, or if you get tired of persisting, or um, it seems like all these things are stacking up against you, just take a deep breath. What I like to do is, when I feel emotionally overwhelmed about something that's going on in my life, I find that by taking a deep breath and just calming down my emotional response, and so I say take a deep breath. I lay down and meditate, and I just quiet the mind. Took me like, I don't know, a year and a half to get to the state where I could just lay down and meditate and get into the state where I listen to my thoughts, or I watch my thoughts very easily. But still, if you're not at this state, no, it doesn't matter. Just get it started. The benefits are boundless. Anyway, so what I do is I lay down, breathe, and I find out that the situation that was presented to me was not as big, nearly as big as it seemed to be. And that's the trick. That's the stupid trick with human capability and emotion. It can be helpful sometimes, in like life or death situations or whatever, can compel us to do really amazing things. It can also really shorten our view on our situation. And so when you have that, and this is just one tactic that I like. Um, the main purpose of this tactic is to take a long view. Okay, so that's you right here. We're looking at this thing. Okay, and it seems like this mountain. Okay, that's huge. But when you calm down, it seems like, well, it's just a tiny blip in the tiny space of your in the whole space of your life. Okay, so you have to kind of step back. So that's you moving back, and then you seeing that the mountain is actually very small. All right. Yeah. Okay, we're at 25 minutes. Tomorrow, but a couple days from now, the video is going to come out about the little dog. Did I go over anything here? No. Okay. Dog story. Next. See y'all later.